There are places you pass by again and again but never really stop to see what's inside, and some places don't feel old, they feel like time just paused there.
Hello guys, welcome back to RB Life Vlogs, and today we are here at a very adventurous place. It's a historic site in Fort Langley. The name is Fort Langley National Historic Site. Let's go and explore this day.
So, before actually stepping inside, there's this quiet space near the entrance that immediately sets the tone. Basically, it's more like a reception area where you can buy your tickets from. This small display shows the entire layout of the site. There's this beautiful model where you would see the buildings, the rooms, and the open areas, everything put together in one place. And standing there, it suddenly hits you how massive this place actually is, because I was not aware of what I would see inside. It actually set up a tone for me without even coming inside. It's one thing to walk through it, but seeing it like this makes you realize how thoughtfully everything was built. So, without any further ado, let's go inside and see what the whole thing is. I have always loved small towns, and something in me just keeps telling me to visit all the small towns around my place. And Fort Langley has been one of my favorite places to visit. I almost come here once a month. It's so calm, it's so slow, it feels very different from city life. It's funny, I have come to Fort Langley so many times and somehow I have always missed this place. I would walk past this area, see people going in and think, kabhi aur jayenge. Today felt like the right way to finally stop and explore. It was perfectly sunny. I had enough time to explore all these places one by one. So let's just go. And for that, we have this location guide that would tell us what's where. There's this beautiful layout. We just went one by one and saw what the history is about. What makes this place special isn't just how old it is, it's actually what used to happen here. This fort is known as the birthplace of British Columbia, but before it became part of our history books, it was actually a working business hub. I'm talking about early 1800s when Fort Langley became the central point of trade in this region, operated by a company that's Hudson's Bay Company. People didn't came here to look around, they came here to trade, to negotiate and to survive. The blankets you see on display weren't just for decoration, they were used almost like money, something that could be exchanged for food, tools, or supplies. Furs from animals like beaver, fox were carefully collected and stored, knowing they would eventually trade far beyond this fort, even reaching to markets far away like Europe and other countries. Salmon, metal goods, utensils, and tools all moved through this place. Everything here had a value, everything here had a purpose. You would see these stones and other things that also were a part of trade. The ships you see in the models weren't just for exploration, they are actually for trade routes, connecting this fort to rivers, ports, and even global market. For the people working here, this wasn't just a historic site, it was their workplace. And through every business like decisions were made that helped shape the future of British Columbia. And see how there are so many animals and their furs on display to actually make people understand what used to happen here in the early 1800s. So, after understanding the trade part, let's go inside a very interesting space that's Cooperage. Cooperage played a very important role in trade and business itself. This was a place where barrels were made by hand. Yes, the barrels that you see here sitting were actually very difficult to make, and they all were made by hand, and it took days and days to even make one such barrel. They were not just containers, they were essential for trade because they used to carry salmon, supplies, and goods safely from one place to another. The iron tools you see here are centuries old and used daily to shape wood and sea barrels. What's really nice and interesting in this place is it's not just for looking, you can still see simple demonstrations like bucket making and other iron activities. And honestly, it makes a great spot for families too, especially during spring and summertime when kids can learn by actually seeing these things in action. And I also did some bucket making towards the end. Walking along the upper fort walls, you can see why this place was built here. Just beyond the fort flows the river Fraser, which played a huge role in the history of this site. In the early 1800s, the river was a major transportation route for traders and supply boats. Standing here today, it's very peaceful, but back then, river was very busy with trade and movement all around the place. Look at this site; it's so beautiful, so serene. These square bundles that you see show how goods were pressed and packed for trade. Wooden frames and careful pressing made sure everything stayed secure during transport back in those days. It's a simple step but crucial to sending items safely across long distances with the furs and everything packed in it. Right next to the displays, there's a small theater room. Here you can watch a short film about the fort's history, celebrations, and life back in the early 1800s. It's a fun way to pause, learn, and see how history can come alive. And during spring and summer, it's perfect for kids and families to enjoy together. There are also few exhibit rooms inside the fort that displays artifact, tools and historical items connected to the fur trade area. They're very beautifully made and specifically for kids so that they're able to understand about the whole thing with so many colors and creativity. These exhibits helps recreate what life and business looked like nearly 2 centuries ago, from the goods people traded to the tools they used every day. Now comes the central house that is also the heart of Fort Langley. This large building was where the most important decisions happened and the governor used to live. In 1858, here is what was called the Big House. James Douglas formally proclaimed the creation of colony of British Columbia, a pivotal moment in Canadian history. While the fort was originally established as a trading post for Hudson's Bay Company, it also became an administrative center as the region grew. Now, first take a look at this journal from June to July 1830, handwritten notes that gives a glimpse into daily life here almost 2 centuries ago. You can imagine the traders, staff recording shipments, weather events, page by page in there. It's actually very nostalgic to feel the paper, handwriting, see the dates and the events back from that era. Inside this document marks a very historic moment. James Douglas' proclamation of the colony of British Columbia in 1858. Decisions made here shaped the growth and future of the region right from this room. On the right side of the house, you'll find the dining and bedroom areas. These rooms were used by the governor itself and the key personnel, combining comfort with practicality. They could live, plan, manage the fort all in one place, whereas on the left side, the dining and the living areas were used for meetings, welcoming guests, and staff activities. You can feel how life was carefully divided yet connected, all centered around the governor's role as the heart of fort. Walking through these spaces, you can actually appreciate the main house and the administrative and residential hub. Now, the last room here is for servants' quarters, a much simpler space compared to the main house. Here, small beds, basic tables reflect daily life for the staff who kept the fort running. Every meal, every task was a part of the maintaining operations of the fort. Life here was very different from the governor's residence, but the rooms were essential to the functioning of Fort Langley. Walking through these spaces, you can feel the contrast from comfort and authority in the main house to practicality and hard work in the servant quarters. The whole thing is very gloomy, the multiple beds, multiple small little things, all into one room, everybody fitted into one big space. Life also tells us the misery and workspace conditions around that time. I hope you are able to understand how things were different for so many people in the same era.
So this was all about my National Historic Site of Fort Langley. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe this channel, and I'll come up with more such videos. Till that time, stay healthy, stay happy. I'll see you in my next vlog. Bye bye.